Hello, and welcome to the four-step framework to build a resilient gut and a healthier you. So, welcome. I'm glad you could join me. I've got a lot to share with you, so we will just get started. Now, you're in the right place if you want better overall health, not just better digestion. A lot of people think that gut health is strictly about digestion or constipation or something like that. It's not. It is much more important and fundamentally affects us everywhere in the body. Maybe you feel like your gut isn't working the way it should and you would just like to know more. You're dealing with bloating, sensitivities, or inconsistent energy. All of these are a sign that your microbes are not doing what you might like them to do. And of course, maybe you want a simple and realistic approach, not another extreme diet. More importantly, you want to feel confident and comfortable in your own body again. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Now, this may not be for you if you're looking for a quick fix or a cleanse. That's not what this is about. Or if you want a restrictive plan that cuts out a long list of foods. Some people are happy with the restrictive plans. They like to have all the decisions made, and that's fine. But most of us like to have some flexibility in what we do and what we eat and when we eat and all that sort of thing. But if you want a restrictive plan, this is not the place for you. Maybe you prefer tracking calories and macros or following rigid protocols. Again, we're not about that. We're not going to be talking about that. Or maybe you're not interested in learning why your gut affects your whole health. Some people, too much information is too much information. For most of us, we want to know why so that we can make our best choices. So, my promise to you is this: I will give you real practical information and you can begin using it today. Nothing here is extreme, restrictive, or fear-based, and everything is grounded in research, food science, and lived experience. And it's not just my lived experience, it's the many people I've worked with over the years. In return, I ask that you stay open to information that may challenge what you've been told. Much of what we believe about gut health is outdated or simply wrong. All right, so let's have some tips for watching this webinar. First of all, if you can find a quiet spot, great, and give yourself this time. You might want to close out extra tabs on your computer so there's less distractions, and maybe have a pen ready in case, you realize something about yourself that you would like to make note of. You want to treat this as a time for your health, not just learning. And you work hard, and I want you to treat yourself and so have this time to focus on the information and you and what might be best for you. So during this webinar, we're going to discuss the three biggest mistakes that make gut issues worse. This is important because this is not the information that's getting out. Why your gut affects your energy, mood, hormones, inflammation, and overall health. We'll also talk about how to rebuild gut resilience with a gentler, realistic four-step method. And this approach is going to help you feel better without restriction. Plus, I will be talking about the gut balance method program at the end, and with it comes lots of bonuses. So I will just briefly mention them here. So you've got a 7-day healthy gut challenge. This is just a nice way to sort of clean up your diet and get started if you are a candidate for it. If you have a lot of food sensitivities or health issues, you may not want to do this, but for most people, this is a really great way to start. There's a microbial food synergy for everyday life handout or ebook, and it's the one that's going to be discussing most of the concepts that we talk about in the program, the food layering, the microdosing. There's also another ebook that's just on the basics of gut health. So if you want that overall view as to how the gut works and what you should know about it, that's in this ebook. You also have a recipe guide with a lot of recipes. And there's even a 21-day menu plan in there for ideas, not for you to follow, for you to figure out what works best for you. And these are just ideas for you along with the recipes. And finally, there's another one called Stimulating the Vagus Nerve for Optimal Health. So we don't just want to talk about food in the program, we want to talk about lifestyle as well. And you can't get past talking about stress or the nervous system or just, how people are feeling. That's a very important part of gut health, believe it or not. So this ebook will give you some information on how to support your vagus nerve, which is essential for your brain gut health. All right, so hi there. In case you don't know me, I'm Lorene Sorrow, and I'm a certified functional nutrition practitioner. I've been a gut health educator for quite some time. I'm also a baker and a cat mom. Um, I have a person that I am a parental unit. I'm not technically her parent, but she's my niece, and I took over looking after her mom passed away. So technically, I am a parent, but I'm not a parent. I've been a functional nutritionist for 25 plus years, and I've also been someone who's lived through a lot and come out on the other side. And I have a lot of hope and I have a lot of good well being. And if you can do that, then you're doing something right. So, this is my journey. I didn't start out knowing any of this. I learned the hard way as I went through endometriosis, arthritis, gut issues, and of course, cancer. And this is how I learned what truly supports health. I really got a good insight, having been in the alternative holistic world for quite some time, what really does work and what really doesn't work. I tried every diet, I removed foods, I did all the healthy things that I was supposed to do, and yet I still felt unwell. And it wasn't until I understood the gut as an ecosystem that everything shifted. I was so busy trying to do things to myself, I didn't really understand that there was something inside of me and inside of all of us that needs addressing that will deliver far better results for us than anything else. Most importantly, my journey taught me one thing. Your gut is central to your entire health, and it works best when everything is working, right? So when it works, you work, everything works. That'll include digestion, immunity, inflammation, sleep, mood, hormones, energy, resilience as you age, which is the key to longevity. And this is why I created the gut balance method, which I'll be talking about at the end. Now, I wouldn't have the knowledge I have today without having the health issues I had. That's just the unfortunate reality. You have problems, you go seeking answers. Many of us in this field have that story to tell. But it has empowered me and allowed me to empower my colleagues and my clients, which is what I have been doing for the last 25 years. I'm filled with gratitude that I know how to find good information that will be helpful for the people who need it. Most importantly, I wouldn't have any answers for myself or for others. And I wouldn't have any ability to help myself either. I wouldn't be able to share what I've learned with my clients and my colleagues. So why does this matter? Well, microbial patterns, which is what we're talking about when we talk about the gut, uh, can influence far more than symptoms in the gut. And so that's the biggest realization everyone needs to make. Yes, you can have symptoms in your gut, which indicate microbial issues. But if you have any diagnosed conditions or you have any symptoms inside the body, the gut is playing a role there too. And these are often connected to things like energy, inflammation, immune tone, hormones, sleep, skin, stress responses, food tolerance. The bottom line is when key microbial layers are undernourished, the body can stay stuck even when somebody is doing everything right. And I'm sure you know people, you may even be one where you watch what you eat, you exercise, you try to keep your stress levels down, you try to get enough sleep, and yet you still have symptoms that are bothering you. So it's important to remember that symptoms are signals, not instructions. Symptoms don't always reveal what's missing. They often signal what is happening in an ecosystem that needs support. And that's how we got to start looking at it. The microbiome is an ecosystem and it needs our support. When we look at microbial quality, diversity, and metabolites, what we can see is which layers are underfed, where nourishment is needed. So in other words, what foods are going to help feed what microbes, why progress has stalled, and then, of course, how to support the body more easily. This insight makes change possible without restrictions. Now, this is an analogy I like to show because just picture this as two people's guts, right? So the one on the left, you can see is not looking very healthy or robust. You can see only a few plants pushing up through the dirt. Everything else is dried and cracked. And this is just not a good piece of land or as suitable as it could be for growing plants. Now look at the one on the right. This is what your microbiome should look like. It shouldn't be sparse like it is on the left. There should be like trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of microbes. And they're all together and they're growing well together and they communicate together. And this is a community. And so we have to start looking at our microbiome in that fashion. We want one that looks like the one on the right, not the one that looks like what most people have, which is on the left. All right, so these are the three biggest mistakes that keep people stuck. Mistake number one is thinking that the problem is the food. And you have lots of help with this, so you're not alone if this is what you think. We are constantly being told that this food or that food is a problem for something. So most people assume that it's the food bothering them, or that they can't digest whatever the food may be anymore, or that they need to avoid certain foods forever, which is sad. But rarely is it the food. It's the microbes and the dose, timing, and combination of foods. So, in other words, how you utilize a food and how a food makes you feel after you eat it is determined by your microbes. Why this happens? So, your gut microbes decide what you tolerate, how you digest, whether a food feels good or not, and when they aren't fed consistently, even healthy foods can feel wrong. So, what happens when we think it's the food? Well, we restrict, we start pulling foods out. We lose variety in the types of foods that we eat. Our microbial diversity shrinks, which is not good for overall health or for long term health, or for even an acute situation where you have a specific health issue you're trying to deal with. Symptoms are going to increase, and we become more sensitive. We become afraid of food. Restriction creates a fragile gut, not a resilient one. And when we stop making this mistake, food tolerance improves, digestion becomes more predictable, meals feel easier, microbes regain strength, food fear decreases, and confidence grows. And that's what we're looking for. You can enjoy more foods, not fewer. As Rachel says, I expected another complicated program, but this one was the opposite. It's simple, grounded, and actually enjoyable. The best part is I didn't have to cut out foods. I learned how to work with them in a way that feels good for me. I feel more empowered in my health than I have in years. What is mistake number two? It's about why extreme diets backfire. So your microbes need fiber, polyphenols, prebiotics, diversity. And when these are removed, microbes shrink in terms of the amount and the different types. A smaller microbial community means a more reactive gut. So you're going to have more symptoms as a result of that. And this is part of the restriction cycle. You remove the foods, often you feel better briefly. So when you have a food sensitivity, if you have it because you don't have the right microbes to process that food. That's why you're having symptoms. And so, of course, when you remove that food that might be causing symptoms due to the fact that you don't have enough microbes, you won't get those symptoms because you didn't eat the food. But that's not why the food seemed to cause the problem. It was the lack of microbes in the first place. So when you remove the food, whatever microbes you had to digest that food will now starve. So the problem's going to get worse. You're going to become more sensitive. That means even more sensitive to that particular food, or you might develop new sensitivities. And you can then, of course, what most people do is remove even more foods, and the gut becomes fragile. health declines. And this is why diets don't work long term. When we stop this cycle, you start to build and rebuild your resilience. So now your gut's going to be more resilient, and so are you. You digest food better. You enjoy meals again. Your health improves in multiple areas, not just digestion. As Emily said, I used to feel lost when it came to understanding my gut. Everywhere I turned, there was conflicting advice. The gut balance method helped me understand the why behind everything, why layering matters, why diversity matters, why restriction wasn't helping me. I now feel calmer and more confident and more aware of what supports my gut day to day. Mistake number 3, focusing only on food and ignoring the other gut regulators. It's not just food affecting how the microbes perform. Your gut listens to everything you do, not just what you eat. So, what are the gut regulators? Well, your gut's going to respond to how well you sleep, how stressed you are, what is your emotional status. Being happy is important. Your gut microbes are involved with how you feel. And they, in turn, the feelings affect how your gut functions. Movement is extremely important, so getting some type of exercise is always good. How well you chew. So most people start off their whole digestion process and how they utilize foods off on the wrong foot by not chewing enough right at the beginning. The order in which you eat your food, and this isn't about eating certain foods at certain times or anything like that. We're just talking about when you eat. Hydration, so how much water are you getting into you on a daily basis? The state of your nervous system. So if you're agitated or anxious or overly stressed, your nervous system, especially the vagus nerve, can be sending all kinds of messages that can mess up how you feel. Like, for example, less digestive enzyme function because your vagus nerve is not functioning as it should. Meal timing can affect how your gut responds. It wants a certain amount of time between meals so it can adjust to the food that it's received. These factors matter as much as the meal itself. Your gut needs a pause between meals. Just like soil needs time to absorb water, your gut needs time for motility to move food along. Breaks between meals help your microbes stay balanced and supported. So think about the person, it could be you, could be someone you know, who eats nonstop. They're not eating big meals, they're eating small meals, but they don't ever give the gut a break. This simple rhythm of giving the giving the microbes a break is going to make digestion smoother and more comfortable. Why does this matter? Well, you can eat perfectly, but still feel uncomfortable if your stress is too high, your sleep is poor, your nervous system is dysregulated, your body isn't ready to digest. And gut health is not just about food, it's about how your body receives food. When this mistake stops, you begin supporting your gut in a way that makes digestion easier, calmer, and more predictable. And without adding any extra work. As Jennifer said, what surprised me most was how much this program helped me understand my body. It connected so many dots, not just about food, but about stress, emotions, sleep, and daily habits. I feel like I finally have a framework that makes sense for my overall health. All right, so I want to introduce to you um, the gut balance method. So this is a 4-step framework. And it's basically a gentle, realistic way to improve digestive, intestinal, and overall health. It can help reduce bloating, support immunity, calm inflammation, improve energy and mood, strengthen your gut's resilience, and expand your food tolerance. And this is done without restriction, overwhelm, or fear. In step 1, you understand what your gut really needs. So your gut is an ecosystem, not a machine. It needs consistency, food diversity, gentle progression, the right combinations of foods, supportive daily habits, not just food habits, but all habits. And this alone creates major shifts. Might not seem like a lot, but it does. What most don't know about the gut: your microbes control 70 to 90% of your immune activity. They regulate every inch of gut motility, the difference between normal digestion and bloating. They create metabolites that turn pain signals on and off. Metabolites also do many other things. And really, when it comes down to it, we'll never really know truly what's supposed to be in our gut, but we do and will know what metabolites and how many of them should be produced for what purposes. That's where research is going right now, and that's what we're going to learn a lot about. We already know a bunch right now. Microbes also generate compounds that influence mood, energy, sleep, inflammation, and hormones. They can build or block tolerance to foods, and importantly, they only work when they are fed, and they shut down when they are not. So, what we need to be focused on is feeding as many of them as possible. Because if the microbes that use the food aren't strong enough, even the best foods won't help, and they may even backfire. And that's why you see a lot of people who have food sensitivities to foods that are basically good for you. So what we're talking about here is looking at layering, food layering. So eating from different food categories that are going to feed a wider cross section of microbes or types of microbes. Microdosing to help us reintroduce foods we may have lost and are intolerant to in small ways so that we can gradually build up the microbes that are needed for those foods. Polyphenol pairing, which help feed and grow our bacteria and the diversity of the bacteria that we have. And of course, all of this is going to help with building tolerance. Microbes operate as teams, not individuals. Each food feeds specific families. The gut gets stronger through small, repeated exposure, not restriction, and the right food combinations. So, when we're talking about food combinations, we're talking about foods that feed more than one type of microbe. And so, food combinations change whether a food feels good or hard to digest. So, we might as well be working on the best way to digest them. Your microbes can respond in hours, not weeks, although it takes time for permanent improvement. Step two is assess what's keeping you stuck. Most people fall into one or more categories. They either have underfed microbes or they are engaging in over restriction. Also, too much clean eating, not enough diversity. High stress, suppressing digestion or overstimulation of acid or motility. That's the problem with stress. It can affect you in several ways from a digestive perspective. Lack of routine, poor sleep, low physical movement, emotional load. All of these are going to be affecting how the microbes respond. Knowing your pattern changes everything. So if you can document what you go through, then you can see what you may or may not be doing. Now, step three is feed your microbes the right way. So this includes food layering. So food layering is simply making sure you get foods from every category that is going to feed the widest range of microbes. Flavor layering is a way of balancing out your meals from a flavor perspective, which in turn also helps to balance out how they are being fed from a microbial perspective as well. So just because something's in a category doesn't mean you have to eat it. You get to pick the things that will be tasty to you. Microdosing, of course, is when you eat a teeny amount, like a teaspoon of a food, to reintroduce it into the body, either to help it no longer be a food sensitivity, or if you're introducing new foods, to make sure there are no symptoms associated with those foods. Polyphenol pairing. So polyphenols are found in many, many plants. They're even found in some parts of the animal as well, and even in dairy products. It's amazing how much what was given to the cow in the form of a plant, in the case of grass, how it makes it into the cow and into the food, especially milk and things like liver and stuff like that. But anyway, pairing a polyphenol with one of the other categories can make a big difference. Food fiber diversity. There's many types of fiber, and not just one is going to feed enough microbes. And of course, you want easy digestive combinations so that it's easy for you to consume the food and get the right amount to feed the different types of microbes. And this is how you build resilience meal by meal. Step 4 is build daily gut habits that actually stick. You don't need perfection, you need consistency. It takes 6 months for something new to become a habit. Just keep that in mind. So small daily practices are going to support digestive and intestinal function, mood, sleep, hormones, microbial balance, inflammation, energy, and the right habits create the right environment for healing. And when you look at this list, you can see, first of all, we just talked about how the gut can affect these positively or negatively. But we're also saying that all of these can affect the gut positively or negatively, depending on how well we do with them. So this is where the magic happens. When people use this method, they report less bloating, improved comfort, better energy, calmer mood, more predictable digestive and intestinal function, better sleep, fewer reactions, more food freedom, a stronger sense of well-being. Gut resilience is whole body resilience. It's not just about the gut. That's why I love gut work so much. All right, so why this method works when others don't. It feeds your microbes instead of starving them, and it rebuilds tolerance instead of removing foods. It strengthens your gut ecosystem meal by meal, and it supports the gut-brain immune connection. These are all things you want to have on a consistent basis. And it works with your real life, not against it. So, in other words, you don't become your diet. You have a life, you have a world, you have people in your world, you have things you have to do. Your food should not be a preoccupation that takes up all your time. If you want different results, you need a different method. Most approaches tell you to cut things out. This method teaches you how to add what your gut actually needs. That's why it feels doable, supportive, and sustainable. Who is this program perfect for? Well, you, if you're ready to feel calmer and more comfortable in your body, reduce bloating and sensitivity without restriction, build food confidence, support energy, mood, and overall health, create a predictable, resilient gut. Think about that. Your gut should be the thing you can count on all the time. And finally, understand what your gut responds to. Whether you want to feel better or simply stay well, this method fits both. So imagine 8 sessions from now that meals feel easier, digestion feels calmer and more predictable. You know how to layer foods without overthinking. You feel more confident and connected to your body. You're eating with more freedom and less fear. And you finally understand what your gut needs and how to support it. This happens when you feed your microbes the right way. You don't need perfection. You need a method. A clear, gentle structure, simple steps, real support, and a way of eating that strengthens your gut instead of stressing it. This is precisely what the gut balance method gives you. Now, you might be wondering, can this work for me even if I've tried everything? Well, thankfully, the short answer is yes, because you haven't tried feeding your microbe the way your microbes actually need. So until you've tried this, you'll never know, right? So this is introducing the Gut Balance Method program. It's a guided, supportive, self-paced program, although you do have options for one-on-one counseling should you need it. And if this framework resonated with you, there are 3 ways to explore it further. You don't have to figure anything out yet. Just let me show you the ways that you could, take advantage of this. Number 1, you can rewatch or save this webinar. Sometimes you hear different insights on a second lesson. Number 2, explore the gut balance method. If you want structured guidance to help consistently nourish the microbial layers the most, then this is what the gut balance method will do. And you could also consider doing gut testing. If you're curious about what your own microbial patterns look like and want clarity on what's missing and where to focus, then a gut test can be very, very helpful. There's no pressure here. These are just simple options. And this is going to help you build a resilient gut, improve overall health, create food confidence, support daily well-being, enjoy food again. And it feels good in your body. And if this is aligning with you, you will be like the others who have found this with the gut balance method. So what's inside the gut balance method? Number one, you've got an introduction to gut health, understand how microbes connect to every body system. Number two, you've got food layering and microbial synergy, combining foods that support microbial cooperation. And these are all broken out into single sessions, and you work away at the session as you see fit. You could do it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever your schedule allows. Number three, microdosing for microbes. So retraining tolerance to different foods on behalf of the microbes or introducing them to new ones. And you're doing this with small, consistent signals. Menu planning, creating balanced meals that fit your life and taste. Session 5, we're looking at stress, cortisol, and gut health to calm the gut-brain connection and lower inflammation. Number 6, we're looking at sleep in the gut. This is how important these things are. They're getting their own session. So we're going to help reset your circadian rhythm to support repair. Number 7, exercise and gut health. So we'll discuss what ideas you might have for movement if you don't move enough already. Maybe you already do, and then you don't have to worry about this one. And the goal is to improve diversity and metabolism through movement. And finally, mindset and maintenance. So maintaining long-term microbial balance and flexibility and looking at it from the mind's perspective, not just from the physical body's perspective. Plus, you've got recipe guides, food layering checklist, a microdosing tracker, weekly action steps, a private Facebook group to discuss and post questions, gentle gut habit templates for you to use, and optimal printable planners that you can use as part of going through all these steps. It's not hard, it's not difficult, and each session does not take long to do. As Sarah said, this is the first time a gut approach actually made sense to me. I finally understand what my body needs. Lindsay says, I love that this method isn't restrictive. It helped me feel more confident and relaxed around food again. Amanda says, the layering and microdosing helped me enjoy meals without feeling anxious about trying new foods. And Nicole said, I feel so much more connected to my gut and aware of what supports it. It's been a total mindset shift. That's really good to hear. And number 5 is from Joanne. What I appreciate most is how gentle and doable everything is. No pressure, no guilt, just practical guidance. Well, that was the goal, and I'm glad that it reflected that way for you, Joanne. And as we mentioned, you have these wonderful bonuses as a result of taking this program. If you're wondering where supplements fit, there's a special bonus inside the program talking about where supplements fit in this whole picture. The gut balance method isn't about supplements, but you may be curious about them. So this will provide you of what you could do and where you could go for more information about that. All right, so what are we talking about here? Well, our special price today is $297 for the gut balance method. This is where you're going to get the 8 sessions of the self-paced program, the step-by-step framework for easier microbiome-focused eating, and a community Facebook group for motivation and support. You can also do 2 easy payments of $167. Or you could opt for gut balance and method and coaching at $497, which is 3 easy payments of $187. And you get everything that you get in option 1, plus 1 hour private consultation for personalized guidance and 4 weeks of email support to keep you on track. And then finally, for those who want more help, there's the Gut Balance Intensive, which is 4 private sessions plus everything in option 1. And so you're getting 4 one-on-one sessions to personalize your plan, a customized food and lifestyle strategy just for you, And of course, you get priority emails support between sessions. So you can email me and ask me questions. There's a 7-day money back guarantee. So if you want to purchase it, you can scan the QR code, or you can look. So there's either going to be an offer box, depending on where you're watching this, or it'll be below in the description for the video. Or you can just click this QR code. Or if you're like to type long URLs, you could type the long URL that's at the top there. So that's all there is to the gut balance method. I hope you like what you heard. I hope it gives you the hope that you've been looking for. I hope you hope. And join us. You're going to really like it, and you're really going to love the power that it's going to give you over the health of your body.